Peace. I just wanted to take a moment and build a little bit about the divisiveness and lack of unity I'm seeing amongst some members of the Nation of Islam, some Muslims, some 5%ers or gods and nurse, some Allah team members, and some of the LOTC, which is the lions out of the cage. And the reason I specifically say some is because not all of us are doing that. And at the end of the day, one of the things we need to keep in mind is that the highest value lies in our relationships with one another. And because of all of the problems our people are dealing with and the human family as a whole, it's multifaceted. There's not one answer or one solution to address all of these different problems, which means I may be the Lord of a specific world and have the experience and the expertise to bring about a solution over here, but over in that situation, somebody else may be the said person of that ability. They be more qualified in order to bring about a solution there. So we need each other in order to address all of these problems. That's the importance of being able to advocate for one common cause. All of our children need education. All of our children need love, protection, and respect. All of our elders need security. All of these things involve all of us, and we need to cover all of this territory together. Now, those of y'all that's not down with unity or whatever, for whatever reasons you dislike people, whatever, I do an after school program and I work with 9 to 12-year-olds, right? And sometimes they have conflict and they don't get along. And one of the things that I tell them is, if you don't like this person, stay away from them. If you don't like that person, quit talking about them. Don't say nothing to them. Because now what you're doing is you're creating conflict and controversy and ultimately devilishment. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of us adults sitting there doing. We sitting there talking about people and having these petty disagreements and arguments instead of really fulfilling our purpose. We're neglecting that. And some of people are doing it because they don't want to fulfill a purpose. They find it more productive to sit there and online or whatever and debate with people about what we need to be doing, what we don't need to be doing, while they're really not doing nothing in real life. You know what I'm saying? So those of you who don't want to be unified, stay away from each other. Quit talking about each other and quit talking about each other to other people so they can run back and tell stuff and create this he say, she say gossip, which makes us as civilized people look far nothing like what we should be demonstrating as standards of civilization. And I wanted to say that too. Regardless of what we call ourselves, Muslims or MTT or FOI or gods and earths or whatever, one thing that we could agree on that is a common denominator is that we're civilized people. And as civilized people, we represent the standard of civilization, which means we have knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement, and we're not savages in pursuit of happiness. So that implies that our behavior has to be something that people can look towards for a sense of guidance, encouragement, inspiration. And we need to demonstrate a level of respect for one another at home and abroad, decorum, etiquette, and everything that would be required of a person that is representing behavior that is the opposite of being primitive and savage. And unfortunately, some of us have atrophied to the point where we're sitting here having this back and forth stuff when we're neglecting the things that are more important. I have a barber that is Muslim, and he cuts my hair, and when I go and sit in a chair, I'm not having no ideological debates about anything. We have a common and a mutual respect and love for one another as brothers, and we do what is necessary to maintain that relationship. And even though we may have some ideological differences, we don't sit there and push each other's buttons. We don't sit there and disrespect each other or to say things to hurt each other, because we value and care for each other and respect that relationship. And that is important with any form of unity. If you're having a relationship with somebody and you recognize ideological boundaries or things that hurt them or they feel disrespected by, don't do it. If you truly value that relationship, but some of us are not even taking that in consideration, which tells me that we need to have a lot more conversation around the areas of the proper handling of people and self-respect. So I say all of that to say, if you don't want to have unity, then just stay away from people. Stop talking about each other and just do what you're doing and let your work speak for itself. Like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, just set the clean glass up to the one that's so-called dirty, right? At the same time, if you want unity, develop the relationship with people where you can build and advocate for one common cause. If a person is a Christian and, agree with them on the things that you could agree with them on. If you're seeing that they're thinking about the importance of living a godly life, and that's something you could agree to, use that as a foundation to build upon. You know, if it's a person that's into holistic health care and that's something that you also advocate, build with them on that level. You know, stay away from those things that's going to create division and that's going to undermine a relationship that you're saying you're striving to build. And that's very important. So I will that this was inspiring, it was empowering, it was educating for those of you who want to know what we can do right now. You know, if you don't want to be in unity with people, then don't. But just stop talking about each other. You know, quit going back and forth and having these petty disagreements and arguments and talking about ideology, because things are getting left undone. You know, we could be doing things a lot better and more productive than sitting there doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to have unity, then find things that are common that you can advocate, that is a cause that you also represent. And just deal with the person like that. You know, if we're doing a food drive or whatever, then get together and do that. It doesn't matter who's doing it, you know, and having your name on the awning or getting some personal recognition or notoriety for it is not important. Let's just get together and do our job. So, peace.